Welcome back. All right, we are moving forward. Now we're going to talk about chiropractic patient lifetime value. We're going to talk about proper bidding, what you should spend on Google Ads so that it is profitable. Because at the end of the day, this is all about profit. It's not about just giving money to Google so they can hit their quarterly earnings figures, right? So we need to make sure that we are smart about this. And when we look at any chiropractic account, we look at the amount of revenue. What is the revenue opportunity on a service level basis? And there's a whole calculation that we actually go through. Like if you're a client of Brand Rocket, there's a spreadsheet that we do where we look at different service offerings. We look at what that equates to in terms of what the revenue expected is over time. This is really important because we have certain chiropractors that want to offer quality healthcare through maybe programs that last a certain amount of time. Some of the chiropractors don't want the same type of customers that would go into the joint for like a quick fix for $25 or whatever it is that they're offering at the time. And it's more of a quality healthcare offering. So we have to analyze these things on a case-by-case basis, looking at certain service offerings over time to make sure that we have a comfort level that we know that when we're bidding on Google Ads, we are truly making an investment in the practice and that we're not overspending for those keywords. So let me give you an example here. We're going to jump in. Let me just move this over into a new slide. Okay, so we're going to jump into some figures here. We're going to talk about costs and cost per click. So hypotheticals, of course, but cost per click, this is actually real. Like you could be spending $10 per click, right? It could be less, it could be more, depending on the keywords, but this is a realistic figure for CPCs, cost per click. So let's say that you are running an active campaign on Google Ads and you are spending $10 per click. Let's say that you have a conversion rate, by the way, because you set up your conversion tracking correctly, you watch the video on that, right? So you're able to see that you have a conversion rate of 5%. That means that it takes 20 clicks to get one conversion. So out of the 20 times that somebody actually clicks on your ad, one time, using this average, or using this 5% conversion rate rather, one time out of those 20, they have submitted a form or they've made a phone call to your practice. Well, if it takes 20 to get one and it's $10 per click, that means the cost per conversion is $200, right? So you got 20 clicks at $10. You got one that went through. It's a $200 cost per conversion specific to Google Ads. Now, that's very important to remember because just because they converted on your form or made a phone call, it doesn't mean that they become a patient, right? And this is where we get into like, okay, what happens on the customer care side, or what happens when somebody makes a phone call? Is the phone answered quickly? Does somebody get back to them in time? If they have to leave a message, do they get back to them in time? Because these people are looking for, especially if they don't know who you are, they're doing a search for chiropractor near me. Maybe they're on their mobile phone. They just want to talk to somebody as quickly as possible. They might have an immediate need. So like answering the phone quickly or getting back to somebody in an expeditious manner is really, really, really important. But that happens after Google, right? So we have no real control over that. That's on your side, right? So let's say that when we send in a form or somebody places a phone call that originates from Google Ads, that you're able to convert them 50% of the time. Now, I'm not saying that's a realistic number at all. It depends on the practice. It depends on internal processes as to what percentage of the time you can convert somebody, right? It also depends on us. Are we delivering the quality? Now we can deliver the search quality, right? So we know how to identify the right searches to get the right searches into your account. But is that the right person, right? And we're going to talk about that later on, finding the quality clicks. Like all clicks are not created equal, right? So we're going to do our job either if we're running ads for a chiropractor, or if you've set this up correctly because you watched all these videos, we're going to do our job in capturing the right clicks for the practice. But then what happens after they click through? They submit a form, they place a phone call. That conversion rate to patient can vary, but for just hypothetical reasons here, we'll say that 50% of them convert to patients. Well, your cost per conversion was $200, but now because only 50% of them convert, now your cost per patient is $400, right? So what happens then? Okay, then we have to go, okay, well, what does that equate to? I just invested $400 in Google Ads to bring me this person. What is my patient lifetime value? And this can be actually analyzed by service line. Like what the services you provide, can differ in terms of like how many times somebody will come back, right? So you have to consider that as well. But let's just continue with this example. We'll say patient lifetime value is $2,000. I think that's a fair number. Now, what is the timeline on that? Maybe that's in the first year, right? It depends on how you analyze that. We like to look at the entire lifespan of a patient. If somebody finds a chiropractor that they love the service, they love the front office, they love working with the doctor, they're going to stick around, and hopefully they'll stick around for a long time, right? So you spent $400, you've earned, in this example, $2,000 over time. This is a profit of $1,600. Of course, there's other expenses that go into it, but we're just talking about ad spend. We're talking about return on ad spend, really. So what is the return on your ad spend? You spend $400, you receive $2,000. Okay, so ROAS really is $1,600, right? So, but you also have to factor in other positives, such as online reviews, right? Reviews and reputation are huge in chiropractic. So are you getting online reviews as a result of that person? That also then brings in other patients. Maybe they talk to family members, friends, very influential, right? So they bring all these other patients into your practice, which is hard to measure, quite honestly, but you have to consider that because all of that is a factor when you think about how much you're willing to bid for different keywords to bring those patients into your practice. And then of course, so it's reviews, word of mouth, just organic word of mouth marketing. So consider all of that. When we bring on a client, we look at this very detailed. We have a whole spreadsheet that we go through where we do the calculations, and each market is different, right? So for different keywords can cost much different in Los Angeles versus Spokane, Washington, for example. The markets are very different. So CPCs, because Google Ads is an auction, right? It happens in real time in a picosecond. These auction values for the different searches can vary considerably by market. So we would, if you're a client of ours, we would actually go through that process and do a whole evaluation to figure out where do we need to focus our budget, what's going to bring in the patients that have value over time. Okay, so let's take a look at something here. So one thing that we will look at is going to be a formula called quality score, and we'll talk about that more later, but it's one of the two really important formulas that Google uses. One is ad rank, and then the other is quality score. So quality score, just quickly, because I'm not going to get into it until a later video, is ad relevancy. Does your ad copy answer the query? It's also landing page experience. Does the landing page copy also, is it congruent with what somebody is looking for? Is there consistency in the content, right? And then the third one is expected CTR, but we'll get into all that stuff later. I do want to talk about landing page experience here for a second, because when we're looking at how much are we comfortable spending budget-wise for Google, we have to figure out, okay, what are we going to be spending, right? And the more you're cognizant and thinking about quality score and making sure that you're doing everything you can to capture that person's intent and transferring them into a patient, the better. And I just wanted to show you an example. So this again is LifeSpring Chiropractic. They've done a great job with their website. They do a lot of different marketing, not only PPC, Google, Facebook, SEO. They do a whole bunch of different things. But what they've done is they've created different landing pages for these different ailments, different challenges that somebody might be experiencing in life. For example, let's say they have neck pain, right? So let's go to the neck pain page. So you can see it's all about neck pain. Upper Cervical Chiropractic in Austin, puts the name of the town right there in the header, and then a lot of content, right? So the website is structured in a way to be able to convert that particular query with a lot of information here, right? So it's educational. It allows somebody to feel comfortable. There's trust signals that are built throughout. So it's not only Google Ads and making sure your targeting is on point. It's also what happens post-click. After the click is so important as well, right? So we have the landing pages here. Now, do you need this to start Google Ads? Absolutely not. Like, there's different ways that we can do this, but this is an ideal scenario. I just wanted to show you a chiropractic account that's really hitting it on all cylinders, right? So if we were to run ads for, if we're targeting like neck pain, right? So we would send them directly to this page. And because we've done our job in structuring the campaigns correctly, and that we also have a landing page that answers the query, it's actually going to result in very low CPCs, or lower than competitors. I guarantee you, your competitors are not doing the work that we're learning about in this series. Because it is, it's detailed, right? This is why we have 10 different videos and probably over 3 hours of content here. It takes work, it takes effort, and in order to do this right, it will pay off in spades. So you have to keep that in mind. It's not only pre-click within Google, it's also post-click. So we're sending the traffic over to a page that's custom tailored. It's created to convert that traffic. So if somebody learns about this, they go through, they watch a video, which is awesome as well. So you could retarget. No, I'm sorry, you can't retarget in chiropractic because of HIPAA. But you could learn about, the different services, neck pain and upper cervical chiropractic. You learn, it's all trust signals, right? So learning more about this chiropractor and the services that they offer. And then you scroll through the content and, you can book now, right? So book now, schedule an appointment, goes to the same place. And then that gets measured as a conversion. So all of these things work together to get a cost per conversion at a place that makes sense for the practice. Again, we go through the process of looking at the cost per click. We go through the process of looking at the cost per conversion within Google Ads. We look at the cost per conversion into patient. We do that whole analysis. Make sure that we are profitable, because Google Ads is a profit machine for your practice. It's not something you're throwing money away. Too many chiropractors, and again, because I do audits all day long on this, and I see it over and over again, where the chiropractic accounts are just built out haphazardly, or Google Ads rep, which is almost as bad, tells them to do something and they build it out incorrectly. And then it ends up just benefiting Google rather than the practice. So really, really important stuff. And again, this is the devil's in the details, right? So make sure that you understand what your services, the value of your services. What does that mean? It gives you the freedom and flexibility to be able to bid appropriately, so you have the peace of mind knowing that you are spending the money that you need to dominate the top of the page position for the keywords that matter to your practice. And that's what you take, those signals, those success signals that come in as conversions at the proper level, get fed into the algorithm, and then we can use that to scale and grow your account. All right. So all right, there was a lot there as well. And I know we haven't even gotten into the nitty-gritty of building these campaigns, but this stuff is so important to understand. This is the differentiator between creating campaigns that just suck money out of your practice versus something that will actually add value and scale and grow your practice. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed that video. Again, if this is too much and you'd rather just focus on delivering quality chiropractic care and growing your practice organically in what you do on a day-to-day basis, we do this stuff all day long. If you want to have a chat about it, there's a free consult. So go to brandrocket.net. You could go to brandrocket.net/schedule and schedule time with me, 15 and 20 minutes. And we can talk about your goals for the practice. We could talk about, exactly who you're looking for and develop kind of a plan just through a conversation and take it from there. All right. Hope you enjoyed this one. We'll see you in the next video.